That's right. Like a phoenix risen from the ashes, we're back. This is Season 2, Episode 1 of the Out of the Minds podcast. I'm still Sean Oakley.
And I'm unfortunately still Sam Cooper.
Yeah, turns out I missed doing this podcast, and I've strong-armed Sam into joining me again.
Yep, we're back just in time for Sean to ridicule me about not making cut at Sith Taker Open for the first time since I've started going up there.
Actually, I'm not going to ridicule you for that. Sith Taker Open is always a hard tournament. What I am going to ridicule you for, though, is the fact that, once again, despite not playing him, you were beaten by Liam Baker.
I mean, I feel like that can't be helped at this point. That's just written in the stars.
You know, you were so close to having that best in faction.
Yeah.
Because, you know, there were two of you.
Yeah, all two of us, and I still lost. We even had the same result. That's crazy. SOS was the difference.
Fair. But no, it was a great weekend, as it always is. So shout out to everyone who runs that and helps with it. It's always fun. But let's get into today's game. So we are actually going to slightly tweak the format from the last time we did it and just put a little bit more emphasis on evaluating the lists in the game, both pre and post, and less of the exactly what happens in the game. So what we'll do is we'll skip through the movement phase, and just give a broad outline of what we were doing, as opposed to the specific maneuvers for each ship.
Because I must imagine it's quite hard for someone listening to put in their head what a vulture droid does a 4 straight and calculates, and then the next 4 vulture droids do 4 straights and calculate repeatedly in your brain.
Exactly. So yeah, we'll see how that goes, and hopefully it's, you know, you'll get the same analysis and the same analysis. I'll let that out. But it'll be a little easier to follow. So for today's game, Sam and I have had a bit of fun with the list building. I'd mentioned the idea of the podcast coming back as like a phoenix rising. So we did a Phoenix Squadron, a Rebels based lists. I've taken the Rebels themselves, and Sam has brought Empire. And we've tried to limit both pilots and upgrades to people who were on the show. So nothing is optimized, but still fun.
Yeah. And I feel like it was simultaneously significantly easier for me because I have just a limited pool of stuff. Like, it's not like Fifth Brother's going to be running around with a crew on his inquisitorial ship. But I did start hitting the dregs of characters in the show after the 3 Inquisitors.
So we did go extended just to give ourselves a few more options. Not that I think that actually matters for you.
It didn't matter for me.
But I have brought Chopper in the Ghost. With dorsal turret, Saw Gerrera, and veteran turret gunner, because I'm sure at some point in the Rebels there was just an unnamed guy in the turret. Or I'm sure there's
a bunch of Wookiees early on.
Yeah, I was going to say that there were. Yeah, I have brought Zeb in the attack shuttle with elusive ion cannon turret and a targeting computer. I've then brought Ezra in the gauntlet with heightened perception, notorious deadman switch, Night Brother, and the swivel ring. And then Hera with marksmanship, fire control system, proton cannons, plasma torpedoes, the S-foils, the title to give a gunner slot, and Sabine Wren gunner.
And if you haven't guessed, that's Hera in the B-wing.
Oh, I'm sure I said that.
You just said you brought Hera.
Right, that is, of course...
the mocking has begun!
Let's continue as we started. But yeah, so that's my list. My kind of thoughts behind it were... Chopper probably dies, but I didn't know what Sam was bringing. So I was like, we'll just launch Chopper into the centre, try and get the jams off. Well, he's going to die, we'll do some damage before he does. Great. Zeb, it's a 3.3 dice gun, with an ion turret out the side, so he's got a 3 dice gun up to range 2 there. Just see what we can do. Ezra, does Ezra things basically with the stress and the getting the double focuses on attack or defense, and then if they focus on Ezra, he's got Notorious, he's got Dead Man Switch, and I was hoping for the miracle. Hera fires a plasma, knocks a load of shields off, then proton cannons you. We can trigger Sabine off that to get rid of the stress or strains.
Yep, it's a cool combo.
Yeah, but over to you.
So I brought the Inquisitorial salad, essentially. I've got the Grand Inquisitor with Malice, Fire Control System, Iron Limiter Override, and Brilliant Evasion. And the thoughts behind Brilliant Evasion was I have 3 agility, I have limited force, it might keep me alive. I had a feeling that Sean was going to be bringing big, chunky ships, and I am going to be limited to very fragile ships, so I could try and stay alive. An Iron Limiter Override because I desperately want to fly it and it's fun.
That seems like a good reason.
Then I've got Seventh Sister with Brilliant Evasion, Iron Limiter Override, and Fire Control System. Fifth Brother with Brilliant Evasion and Homing Missiles, because, it's Fifth Brother. And they're all in the TIE V1. I've got Volt Skerris in the Interceptor. I kind of wanted to try and slam a Defender in, but he wasn't really going to fit.
Surely he's not more than 7 points in the Defender.
He's 7, but it would have been yeah. I thought I would rather take Volt Skerris in an Interceptor, because that's kind of what he's more in the show, I think. He's more famous for his TIE Defender, because he dies to Hera, but I think he's more in his TIE Interceptor. And he's got Marksmanship and a shield upgrade, because I have no confidence in keeping this guy alive. And then I've got Valen Rudor in the TIE Interceptor. TIE Fighter with Disciplined and Precision Iron Engines, because he is in the show for 3 seconds.
Yeah, that Disciplined and the Iron Engines is the standard loadout.
Yeah. Hilariously, if you brought non-standard loadout Valen, you could fit that in.
Fair.
You don't gain anything. You have the same ability.
Do you lose anything? Is it literally those points?
It's just. I think it is literally those points. You might have an extra one, but it's 1 point. I guess you can maybe take a targeting computer or something. But
fair. So we rolled off and we are playing Scramble. Everybody's favorite Scramble, Salvage even. Everybody's favourite. I was praying for Assault with 2 large bases, but no such joy. But I was kind of alright with that personally, because I think that you want to reposition more than I do.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, 2 of mine can't, so...
Yeah, this one's going to hurt.
So that's fine. So we rolled off first player, and it was Sam. It is Sam a lot in this game. Initiative-wise...
It's not wholly relevant.
No, initiative-wise, it's only the 3 we overlap on.
It's Valen and Ezra, and they weren't really interacting a whole lot.
Yeah. But we end up with 1 below the centre on my side, as close as you can get it to my edge. I place that there because I want Zeb to grab it. There's 1 in your bottom left corner.
Yep, because I want Valen to grab it.
And then the other 2 are off to my left, your right, the other side of the board, just near centre line and slightly back.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then the rocks. I've brought the 3.
They're forming a giant arrow towards my bottom left-hand corner.
Yeah. They're all clustered around the centre towards the bottom left. There's lots of space on my left hand, the top as you're watching it, which is when none of the action takes place.
Yeah, it's all in the rocks on this one.
So you set up Valen first.
No, I don't.
No, because my 2s. I'm a nitwit. I set up the attack shuttle, Zeb. He's facing along my board edge towards the objective near the bottom where I couldn't remember what was on the dial. I couldn't remember if they had a white 1 hard. So I was like, I'll do this so I can 1 bank, pick it up. And then I set Chopper up on the left-hand side in a little bit. Basically, he was just going to wait and see where you went. I put him in a position where I thought I could bank and then go through the gap in the rocks towards the middle. And if I could just get Chopper jammed in there turn after turn, great. But if not, I can gun forwards. It's come and joust me if you want. I'll take that.
So I set up Valen in my bottom left, basically as far out as I could, facing along my backboard edge. The idea being I'm going to basically slowly move and grab my objective and then go and hide. and just try and score points and rely on the bigger guns to carry the day.
I set up Ezra to the left of Chopper, thinking, make it really difficult for you to now go, I'm going to joust both your large base ships. And if you don't, then he can just race forward, grab one of the objectives before he starts turning into the centre.
Yeah. So then it's the rest of my ships, and I set up both Seventh Sister and Fifth Brother just to the left of my centre line, as far forward as I could, basically aiming down a gap in the rocks, aiming towards where Zeb currently was. And I was basically, the idea being, I'll try and catch him out, but I've got ways out if the big ships start coming in, because I don't really fancy taking that in the face. And then I set up the Grand Inquisitor just behind them in a little like V formation, because I like formations like that, and it'll just like concentrate all my firepower. Because I got a bunch of 2-dice guns, so and to start chipping through your big stuff, I really, really need to like focus fire.
Yeah.
And then I deployed Volt directly in front of Valen, facing towards your board edge, with the idea being that if you like do something silly and let me, Volt can actually get quite far with his pilot ability, which is obviously the charge that downgrades. But on the first turn, you can do 3 actions.
Yeah.
So I just thought, if you let me get a sneaky one, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I set up Hera directly opposite Volt. Part of it was like, I could go forward if he comes fast, get the plasma off straight away, get the proton cannon straight away. And then, yeah, or I have an option, I can turn in towards...
Yeah.
Like... So, let's rattle through, but... So basically, I bank towards the centre with Chopper because I think you're going to you're going to go that way, and it gives me the best options. Ezra does a fall straight up the side edge to try and get it. Zeb, as I said, just ambling towards, and Hera, all right, I should go to you actually because Hera,
don't worry.
Hera, I chicken out a little bit because I was slightly worried about the V1s all coming fast at her, and yeah, so you've only got 2 dice, but I've only got 1 evade. So I opt for the 2 banker barrel roll away just to play it safe, basically.
Yeah. Meanwhile, on my side, Valen does a 2 straight and focuses. He's going to grab a crate next turn. All 3 of the V1s do a 5 straight. Fifth Brother and Seventh Sister focus barrel roll to the left, trying basically. I thought when you set up Hera opposite Volt that you would go for the nuke, essentially. So I was trying to basically say, okay, you can go for the nuke, but I'm going to try and punish you a little bit, because, like you said, you do only have 1 agility, and if I can get all 3 of my ships shooting you, I should hopefully potentially start trading damage.
Yeah.
And Volt fears nothing, so does a 5 straight.
Yep.
He also evades, and then he's basically planning on, before he engages, focus boosting, trying to get a sneaky shot at whatever you do.
Yeah. He does do that. No one gets a shot, so we go to the next round. And my thoughts on this round are basically lob Chopper in, like bank, bring Ezra around the side. Zeb comes in, and Hera, because of where you've positioned yourself now, I don't think you can get all your V1s on Hera.
No, I can't get... I think Fifth Brother is the one I specifically can't get on Hera if I was going for her.
Yeah, so I decide to basically turn her slightly towards the others and threaten the fun stuff. So yeah, I do literally that. Both Ezra and Zeb pick up a crate this round, start ticking up the points.
Valen also picks up a crate. So Seventh Sister does a 3 straight to clear the stress, and then takes an evade, basically looking towards where Hera's going to end up. Fifth Brother and the Grand Inquisitor do 1 banks towards Chopper, because I thought, okay, Chopper's probably coming this way, but I don't have any other options, and I am relatively durable. Fifth Brother chickens out, trying to get out of range 1, and so I barrel roll to the left and focus. Also trying to line up more shots towards where Zeb might be. Whereas the Grand Inquisitor just takes an evade and is going to be relying on his ability to just reduce the amount of damage coming in.
Yeah.
Volt does a 3 straight. No, a 4 straight to clear the stress, and then I focus boost trying to line up a shot onto either Hera or Zeb, depending on where Hera goes.
Yeah. Interesting. Hera does a one make to turn towards it, and it's so close to having bullseye on both Seventh Sister and Fifth Brother, and I had to eyeball it, and I end up just taking a lock on Fifth Brother, which does turn out fortunate because I don't have the bullseye on Seventh Sister. But we go through the attack phase, and the thing to note here is I do the plasma into Fifth Brother, which does no damage because I roll like 3 eyeballs and a blank, and I fire control the blank. I then fire Proton Cannon, which I believe gets 3 hits, or with some crits, but you manage to dodge all of those, which is nice. And then we basically trade, don't we? Trade some varying shots. I've reinforced Chopper, so it's plinking damage there.
Yeah, I think we end up being. I don't think I take any damage this round.
You don't.
3 health off the ghost and 2 health off Hera.
Yeah, 2 health off Hera, 3 off the ghost. Which, all right, fine. I got a little unlucky with the missions, but it's not the end of the world. And yeah, I go 2-1 up on objectives.
I do wonder if I should have just shot into Zeb at this point.
Maybe. Apologies to anyone watching on YouTube. I was slightly rusty with remembering to update the points on both the overlay and on the table and damage, and it's my first time back in like 7 months. But yeah, so turn 3, and I'm like, well, we'll just chuck Chopper in. I thought about going straight with Chopper, but where your Inquisitors were, like, you're more heading down towards my bottom right edge, so I end up for 2 hard, thinking, oh, that might take me a little close to the Moustache Rock, but Fifth Brother should block it before I hit it.
Yeah.
Was my thinking. And then everyone else is basically just going to slow ball in. And that's essentially what I do. It turns out Chopper actually almost hits the other rock that's close to him. So a slight misjudgment of where he's going to go. But it does have one very important consequence, which you might want to talk about.
Yes, because, and this is my big mistake, I think, now looking back at it. Because, okay, Volt, basically, Valen, he's doing like a 2 hard away. He's got a crate, he's happy as Larry. Volt is just too harding past where Zeb is going to be, and he's just going to try and hope to get his arc back around. And the Grand Inquisitor is doing a K-turn behind Chopper. What the other 2 Inquisitors are doing is Fifth Brother is turning away from Chopper, and Seventh Sister is turning hard towards the center, with the idea being that I want to be able to barrel in behind Fifth Brother, because I thought, in my head, okay, Chopper's just going to go either like something ridiculous like 4k down or like 2 straight to try and get in behind the Inquisitor and where Fifth Brother were. Because you didn't, you turned in, I'm screwed. And I moved Seventh Sister first, leaving her with nowhere to go, because Volt is blocking her barrel to the left, and Chopper and Fifth Brother are blocking her to the right. What I should have done was moved Fifth Brother first, because at least he can move and get out of the way. Because what ends up happening is Fifth Brother bumps into the back of Seventh Sister, and Seventh Sister is just stuck in front of a rock. If I had moved Fifth Brother first, I reckon I could have at least tried to get out of the way, and then maybe Seventh Sister can try and barrel roll towards Chopper and get out of certain death.
Yeah.
It probably wouldn't have happened, but like at least there would have been an option, and then both of these Inquisitors would have taken actions.
Yeah.
But I don't. I do it the other way around. Fifth Brother bumps into the back of Seventh Sister. I believe takes a damage from it, or possibly doesn't. I can't quite remember. And Seventh Sister has an evade, and she's just sitting in front of a rock. So if she takes some damage this turn, she's gonna die.
Yeah. And Hera has just done a 1 straight in behind, landed range 1 of both of those Inquisitors, and locks Fifth Brother.
Yeah. And the Grand Inquisitor, in case I forgot, did a 4k behind Chopper, and then used Ion Limiter Override to barrel roll to make sure I had a range 1 shot.
Now this one is very interesting on the damage, and we'll just run through it to the end and then go through everything. But basically, I range 1 from Hera into the Inquisitor, and I believe I need Chopper to do it as well, and I kill Fifth Brother because it was just so many red dice.
Yeah, because it was Ezra as well, wasn't it?
And Ezra, Ezra got a range 3 as well. So I've taken Fifth Brother, and it left me a range 1 shot from Zeb into Seventh Sister, which took 3 damage off her.
Yep.
I'm thinking actually maybe it was just Ezra and Hera that managed to do.
I think it was Ezra and Hera into Seventh Sister, and then Chopper and it was Ezra and Hera into Fifth Brother, and then Chopper and Zeb put 3 damage onto the sister.
Which means Seventh Sister sat there on 1 health in front of a rock.
Yeah.
So, but there was also the hull breach on Chopper, and boy was this important. So I've killed Fifth Brother, and I've killed Seventh. I've near enough killed Seventh Sister.
Fifth Brother did manage to put 2 damage onto Hera during this.
So Hera's down to 4. Chopper took a hull breach as the first crit,
which is always bad.
And then a load of damage. So because 2 of those were direct hits of the next lot of damage to come through.
Yeah.
So Chopper's down to 5.
Yes.
Chopper has
used his ability to focus boost around and took a pot shot at Ezra. It didn't really do anything, but you never know.
But Chopper now has a hull breach, a damaged engine, a structural damage, plus the 2 damage from the direct hits. So 5 left. I'm in a position where I can't relieve the stress without bumping into my own ships, because if I 2-bank left, I go off the board the next turn. So I have to 2-bank right, and that just bumps Hera.
Yeah.
I can't do anything faster because it's red. I can't hard turn because the damage engine makes it too hard, red. So I'm like, and if I bump Hera, I'm going to roll the damage. That'll be a crit. Like, I was like, what do you do? In the end, I have to go for the 2-bank because it's literally my only option where the ghost doesn't die from its own maneuvers in 2 turns.
Yeah.
Luckily, I do take a damage from that, and it is a disabled power regulator. So down to 4. Zeb just bumps into Seventh Sister.
Soon to be dead Seventh Sister.
Because honestly, it's just the easiest place to put him and kind of set up for next turn. Ezra does a stop because I know Fifth Brother's coming in that way because of the K-turn. He's got nowhere else really to go.
But yep.
Yeah, sorry. What did I say?
Fifth Brother.
No. Good to see we're already back on naming the wrong pilots. Yeah.
We've already got it sorted.
Yeah.
For my part, the Grand Inquisitor just 1-banks towards where Ezra is, because I thought about going after Chopper, but I was like, if Chopper doesn't move, I can't afford to bump currently with these ships. So I know Fifth Brother's dead, and I know Seventh Sister will die. So I've got to leave killing Chopper up to Vault, and I need the Grand Inquisitor to start plinking away at your other big ship.
Yeah.
And for that in mind, I also turned Valen back in just to start. I just need to throw guns.
Yeah. Because we forgot to do points. Obviously, Seventh Sister went over the rock and died, so it's currently 12-3.
Yeah.
So yeah, and Hera had just banked away and taken a target lock on Vault for future. So we skip past the 6s. You've got 4 dice into none. You need 4 hits to guarantee, although they're all going to be crits.
Yeah, I end it with hit, crit, crit after a focus.
So it's crit, crit, crit. And after the other 2, luckily there were no direct hits and no fuel leaks. I get weapons failure, blinded pilot, and a loose stabilizer.
Yeah.
Slightly awkward when I'm facing towards the board edge and I've got 1 health left.
But you're not dead.
But I'm not dead, is the important thing.
So the Inquisitor has to spend a force to get a range 1 shot into Ezra and doesn't do that much. And then the Ezra has range 1 back into me at some point. Yeah. So I have to spend a force to get rid of that.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, I Notorious and range 1 back into the Inquisitor, and I plink a shield off. Which
and Valen doesn't do anything, but that's fine.
Yeah, it's a TIE fighter. So we go into turn turn 5. I've scored 2-1 again. I've been totting up 2-1 now for 3 rounds, which is a nice advantage as well. But I'm like, well, Chopper's going straight because Chopper has no choice. And it's like, I think I was thinking, does Valen just like do a 2 straight, boost after me, try and plink that one off? So let's try and put Zeb in the way to stop that.
Yeah.
Hera's just going to do a little turnaround in case he comes in, and yeah, that's my kind of plan there, which I do. I do the 3 straight. I've got 1 ion on the Ghost. I think he's going to be dead long before that becomes an issue.
Yeah. But what happens is I try to 1 hard just inside this rock, and looking at this top, I can't believe I hit the rock. It looks like it should have been fine.
It's so close, but maths say you hit it.
Yeah, and I take 2 damage from the rock, and so at this point I'm like, okay, that's game. Because if I don't kill Chopper this round, because now I have to put Valen out for another turn, assuming he survives Hera and Zeb.
Yeah.
Now he's out for another turn, killing Chopper, and so I think that's it.
Like
the Inquisitor bumps into Ezra,
which means
Valen,
we're trading range zeros.
Valen just turns in and focuses and says like, "Hey, I'm a TIE fighter, pew pew pew."
Pretty much. Hera does do a shot into Vault. It's obstructed, I think, range 3 actually. I don't roll very well. I opt not to spend the lock. I figure I'll just keep it for the next turn. The Inquisitor does nothing into Ezra.
Valen does 1 intriguingly, puts a blinded pilot onto you.
Of all the shots, it's and that blinded pilot actually screws me a little bit. I mean, in a certain sense, it stops me doing what his ability, which is a real shame. But more importantly, it drops the crate off. So at least we're trading 1-1 on the crates.
Yeah.
I obviously notorious the Grand Inquisitor when he shoots me. Range 0 back into him. And
you blink off another shield,
I blink off another shield. I do a ranged. So I have a range 2 ion cannon into the Grand Inquisitor, and I have a range 1 obstructed into Volt. I opt to do the Volt shot because, alright, dice are probably not. Well, dice are effectively the same. I get 1 more red for 1 more green. There's no mods on either side. But if I can get that ion, then I can just guarantee he dies the next turn.
Yeah, absolutely.
I should be able to guarantee he dies the next turn. But you dodge it, which is nice. So
go to 15-5.
15-5. I forget to do the overlay. This turn is quite easy for me because Chopper's hard turning, because Chopper's got a hard turn or he dies. So he does. I launch Zeb into the middle. I bank the gauntlet out so it can shoot out its rear arc. I'm an idiot and forget the blinded pilot, so I take a target lock instead of, fixing that. But whoops. And then Hera 1 banks down to where Volt is.
Yeah, so Valen does a 2 bank in towards the centre, just trying to get shots. He takes an evade. Then the Grand Inquisitor does a 2 Talon, basically getting behind where Ezra's going to end up. I'm a little sad because Valen's in the way, and so I can't use the Iron Limiter Override for any value, so I just sit there. And Vault does a 2 straight focus boost, being like, I need to kill Chopper if I want to have any semblance of hope.
Yeah.
Because the interesting thing here is, if I can knock off your crate, the ships I have can be weirdly tanky if I get lucky. So it's like this game isn't over, but it's kind of over.
Yeah, definitely. So Hera fires the second plasma into Volt. Because at this point, I wanted to try and trigger Sabine for, the Phoenix side of it. Plus it was nearing the game's edge. That completely whiffs. I fire the proton cannon, and I only managed to get 1 crit through, but it is a panic pilot.
Which means Volt is not doing anything useful for the rest of the game, which means I will lose, because Volt then now can no longer be a TIE Interceptor, really.
Yeah. Volt then proceeds to kill Chopper, which...
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fully expected.
Downtime.
That's fine. I launched both my other attacks into Fifth Brother because I took a target lock, but I can't. A Grand Inquisitor, but I can't use it. They're not great shots. I managed to chip a shield, one more damage off, so he's on 1.
Yeah, and then I just put shots into Zeb, and I get Zeb down to 1.
You do get Zeb down to 1, but God bless Zeb's ability for cancelling the crits first, so he doesn't drop the crate.
Yeah,
but it's now. But I mean, it's 16-12, so it's it's come back a little bit. Where
This is one of those weird situations where I have a bunch of AC stuff, and it was like, if I can make you drop the crate and do AC stuff, I have a chance. I think the Panicked Pilot, obviously there are many things that would have ended the game then and there, but Panicked Pilot was one of the 2 things, other than 3 things end the game. Panicked Pilot, Loose Stabilizer, and Direct Hit on Vault.
Yeah.
Which it just means that Vault can no longer do the stuff he needs to do for me to get back in the game.
I think at this point, your only win condition is kill Hera.
Yeah.
But I'm going to try and make that difficult. So Zeb, I actually misdialed Zeb. I thought I'd done a 1 straight and chuck it basically to try and chuck him in the middle. He actually 1 banks towards. I'll think of his name in a minute. Ezra luckily doesn't bump, so I just rotate the ion turret out to the back. To basically try and give coverage. We have a little difficulty trying to get Valen to do his precision ion, so we actually have to look up the console commands to do it. And Ezra just rotates round because that's where your ships are going to be. And I was
the funny thing is, after all that faff, the 3K was probably the better move.
Yeah.
I just wanted to do it.
I was sat there thinking, it's fine, I'll just stress myself, and then I've got his ability, and I keep forgetting that blinded pilot stops his ability.
Yeah. And then the Grand Inquisitor does a 1 bank, and then a focus barrel down to basically... My plan is I needed to get out of Ezra's bullseye for brilliant evasion value, because I didn't know what I was going to use, but I figured I just need to make sure I've got all my tools on.
Yeah.
And then Vault does a 1 hard trying to block Hera, because if I can just not get shot...
Yeah, Hera does bump, so that's fine. We trade shots. You kill Zeb, and I kill the Grand Inquisitor.
Which means it's game over.
There was an interesting point I brought up. Was it, I think, when you defended from... No, it must have been when you attacked into Zeb.
When I attacked into Zeb.
And you had 1 force and a focus. It was only 1 focus result, but you spent 1 force, which meant you couldn't deny my range 1 shot from...
Yeah. So here's the interesting thing, was that I couldn't deny the range 1 shot, and here was my thinking at the time. And I think I'm slightly wrong, but I also don't think there was a good answer. Because if I spend the focus, I only have 1 force, and then I'm committing to spending it to deny the range 1 bonus. So I'm 3 dice unmodded versus 3 dice with a force.
Yeah.
And I have 1 health left. Odds are you kill me. If I keep the focus and spend the force, I'm 3 dice with a focus versus 4 dice with a force. And in my head, I had more chance to survive that.
Yeah, that's fair. It was just
no matter what, I needed full paint anyway.
Yeah, it was just like a gut reaction,
Yeah.
Reds are always better than green, so if you can take a red away, but...
Yeah, but at the same time, because I only had 1 health, I was thinking about the averages. The average on 4 dice with a force is like 2 hits, a focus, and a blank, so there's 3. And then the average of 3 with a focus is like focus, blank, evade, so 2. So like even then, I'm dying.
Yeah.
But I think I'm also dying on average 3 on 3.
Fair.
So I just needed to make sure I had the mods, and I just needed paint.
Yeah. I mean, I think the game was decided on when Chopper turned in and blocked.
Yes.
The barrel.
When I screwed up with the the sisters and the brothers.
It's a screw up and it isn't. You misjudged where I was going. Yeah. But, I mean, I thought long and hard about going straight. Yeah. It's one of those 50-50 calls, wasn't it?
Yeah, but the reason I call it a screw up is after seeing where you went, I then didn't change the order in which I was moving my ships.
That's true. That's very true.
Because they're both the same initiative. I should have moved Fifth Brother first because I knew he would be able to just get out of the way.
Yeah. Because he can just barrel. Yeah. But yeah, post-game. I mean, my list... pretty much function as I mean, Hera's plasmas were sad, but
That was the
That's-
funniest thing I've ever seen. Oh, 3 hits. Oh, I got 2 blanks and a focus. Oh, I'll reroll 1. Oh, look, 2 more. 2 blanks and a focus still. Guess I'll fire a proton cannon. 2 hits and a crit. And Volt was like, cool, dodged.
oh, but I mean, all right, dice are dice. Like Zeb was quite fun. Chopper kind of did what he did. He didn't get the blocks, but by the same extent, he took a load of shots. He was always going to die. He's a trade piece. He meted out loads of damage, which is what he wanted to do. Ezra, I would have been much better with if I just fixed the blinded pilot, but that's a pilot error, I suppose. And Hera was just sad, but kind of did what she needed to do, was just let down by dice.
You know what we completely forgot?
What?
Chopper's pilot ability.
No, we didn't, because you didn't bump.
You literally rammed into my ship, didn't you? Oh wait, no. Was there a
No.
gap? There was a gap.
Yeah, there was a gap because
Yeah.
I bumped,
No,
you
you're
moved.
right. Yeah. No, I thought I'd end up at range 0.
Yeah, no, I bumped you, moved. But what about like your side?
So it was interesting. They were fun. The thing is, they're fun to fly, and maybe trading out Volt in the TIE Interceptor and Valen for Volt in the Defender would have been better, because I definitely felt I'm rolling two. It was like I had like flashbacks of playing Separatists. It was like, yay, 2 dice attacks. But like I said, it took a lot. They took a lot of killing for a 4 health ship, and I think it was one of the things. Like, I think I vaguely remember them being hard to kill, because I haven't seen them in ages.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, we've rattled through this one quite quickly because it was quite a quick game. I forgot to do the timer, but I think we had quite a lot of time left.
I think that's
But no, it was a nice fun game to start and get into it. We'll be back next week with a slightly more serious game.
Yeah.
We are going to attempt
Speak for yourself.
Fair. We are going to attempt to record some games at Club Night because we're at our new place, Piranha Cafe in Truro, which has got some nice lighting, so we should be able to get some decent games recorded. That might not be for a few weeks, but just so that it isn't consistently me and Sam playing each other, because we will be practicing for events and stuff, and then it will literally just be the same game on the same game, the same game. But we will do a few TTSs in with that. I'm looking forward to it. So thanks for tuning in once again. We'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, see you guys next week. Hope you have fun listening to us ramble.